Today's project, I'm going to be working with this particular cover. I believe it's from a 16 book encyclopedia set, the New Illustrated Animal Kingdom. I bought this at a secondhand store, and I like this particular book because it does hold, the size does hold a composition book within its folds perfectly. Now once I get this all together, the insides may be padded, so it will stick out a little bit. I will just take one of my sharp knives and I will use a ruler and I will actually cut off about 1/4 of an inch if I find that it sticks out a little bit too much. But these books are fairly cheap. I think they're $1 something at your local store. So I just wanted to find something. I'm constantly writing notes and stuff down, and I like to have a little notebook handy and a nice cover for it. So this is the project I'm going to work on today. What I've done is taken the book. Now some of it is quite water stained and worn away, and I'm not particular about this yellow. So I've taken the book and I've taken my Liquitex black gesso, and all I've done is painted around the outer edges of the whole book and on the inside. The inside is going to be covered with another paper, and the outside I'm going to be adding some cardstock, patterned paper, and on the spine I'll be adding some fabric. So what I'm working with, my niece Emma recently cleaned out her closet and gave me some of this patterned textured cardstock, or not patterned, but it's textured. It's got like a grain to it. So I had all these different colors in my stash, and I really didn't know what to do with them because they're solid and I wasn't quite sure what I was going to do with them. So I dug through and I found some other patterned papers that I had been saving. I have a few more. I have this one as well, and this one, and the one I'm working with today, I've already cut it. I'm working with this one as well. So I decided to pattern some of them up. So what I'm working with is, I'll put these two together. This one I think I'm going to put with the navy. For this turquoise one, I'm actually going to be working with this pattern. So this is what I'm working with today. And then the sand colored one, I think I'm going to be working with these two together. So today I'm going to be working with 3 pieces of the 12 by 12, 2 of the turquoise, and then this one 12 by 12 piece that, again, I've already cut because I was starting on the project. So I'm going to be cutting the textured paper to fit on the front cover. I can get that to sit up properly. There we go. So it will sit within that black frame. And then again, the spine, I will have a black fabric along the spine, so you won't see this yellow here. And then I'm going to take the patterned piece and I'm going to lay that on top. And that will be my front cover with the black here. And then the same for the back, I will put the turquoise. I'll cut this down to the size I like. And then I will take another piece of this paper. And I've cut these, they weren't exactly 6 by 6, but I'm going to use this on the back, just offset it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use, excuse me, Mod Podge to adhere this textured cardstock onto the book. I'm going to work on the cover, get these put on. I'm going to use a nameplate on the front and maybe a definition or a word or something on there. And then I will actually attach the fabric, and then we will work on the inside. I think I'll use one full piece here. I'll trim this up, and we're going to probably make this a little sturdier, add some chipboard in here, and then add some fabric, and then I'm going to actually add elastic to this one so that I can just make this a folio type thing that I can use over and over again. So I'm going to go ahead and start on this, cut down the papers, and we're going to glue the papers with the Mod Podge to the front of the book. So here we are with the cardstock, textured cardstock, and the patterned cardstock. We have Mod Podged on the first layer, which was the textured paper. And then the second layer was the patterned paper. I did distress around the edges of the paper and added some little marks from a stencil that I had with distress ink. I've added on my book plate with some brads. This is just a little piece of tea stain paper inserted. I've done the back as well, and again distressed the edges and added a couple of little splotches of distress ink. The spine fabric is now on. I'm going to Mod that on as well. On the inside, I have taken a piece of very thin chipboard. This is actually the back of one of my paper pads. It's very thin. And I've just added a little strip here inside the spine. You want to make sure that it's thin enough that once you insert that little piece of cardboard or chipboard, that you can open and close your flaps without any resistance. You don't feel the paper is too fat. And if you put it in too wide, it actually will flatten out your spine. So you don't want it to be completely flat. You just want to make it a little bit smaller than your spine. So that I glued in. And then for the brads, the tails came through, and I've just taken a piece of masking tape. I always push down when you do your brads. Get something that you can, either your scissors or a awl or whatever, and just really push down hard and make sure that bends over really tightly, and then add your masking tape, and that will just hold it in place. Now I'm going to add some paper to the inside cover, and it will cover up the interior pages and the spine. And then the next step will be to add the eyelets and the elastic. So I'm going to go ahead and choose my paper for the inside cover. So the insides are now covered. I found some scrapbooking paper that had some lovely teal color, turquoisey teal color. It was a 12 by 12, and it did have a little bit of extra stuff on the side, so I've just cut it off. I guess it was about there maybe. So I've just cut it down and fit it inside the book. So we now have the insides covered, and I have gone ahead and marked off where I'm going to put my two eyelets with two little white dots for some chalk. With some chalk, my chalk pencil, just mark my little dots. I'm going to go ahead and punch them and insert the eyelets and the elastic. All right, so there we are. We have punched two little eyelet holes, added our inside scrapbooking paper. I've put my two little eyelets in there, and I've added some elastic. Now if I just wanted one, if I was going to do just the one book, which I will actually do for this particular booklet, you can do one at the top and one underneath and have the elastic here, and then a shorter one for something else. But what I'm going to do is put my composition book in on this elastic, and then I may use this one for a file or something else. So then I took, for the inside, before I put the book in, I've taken a large white envelope that actually fits just inside the book, and another white one. And I've gone ahead and grabbed some of the scraps of my scrapbooking papers that I used for the book, and I've actually made a little envelope. And because I'm going to put the composition book on the front elastic, and I'm going to put a label that says this book belongs to here, I've taken this envelope, which is just the white envelope, and this is the flap with a little piece of Velcro, and it has your large envelope here. I've taken a piece of this label off of the scrapbooking paper, and I've just layered it on some of the others. And the white, small white envelope, I've folded this back like that, and I trimmed it to fit inside, glued the edges, and then just added the paper. And then we've added a nice little journaling card with some of the scraps. I've made a tag, and then this is the actual inside of the envelope. So I've gone ahead and done that, and I think I will glue this to the back here of the book, and then I will put my composition book here, and I may cut this little piece of paper out and stick it on the front and put this book belongs to, and then have this as my label on the inside and put my name and address on there, or leave it for someone else. But I'm going to go ahead and glue this in to the back of the book. Just make sure it's even and plug it right there. So that is going to go into the back. So you can use this for your receipts. And then the composition book I've put down somewhere. Oh, here it is. We just find it in the middle. Insert it into the elastic. Like so. And close it up. And there you have your composition book inside your book. Now see how this edge hangs out just a little bit? I will actually get my ruler and my sharp knife, and I'm going to trim this book back about 1/8 of an inch, maybe 1/4 of an inch, so that it will fit right inside the book. And then I may use some of the scrapbooking paper that I have left over and actually cover the front of the composition book, just so that it goes with the book. But there you go. I'm going to go ahead and trim up this book. And so that was a simple, easy to make book from an encyclopedia, and just added some scrapbooking paper and a little label. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you subscribe to my channel.